New York Congresswoman Claudia Tenney joins me now. Congressman, I want to get your reaction, but we were just showing tape of the border, and migrants were passing a baby from person to person every week. A week ago, there was a 3-year-old baby that washed up dead on the shore. A week before that, it was a 10-year-old. There are children dying every week here, and not a peep out of AOC about that. And all she does is throw shade towards others. I mean, what do you make of all this?
Well, look, she was crying at the border when President Trump was president. Remember that famous scene of her saying how terrible it was? You know, this is just a total, they don't want to talk about the tragedy at the southern border and how much the cartels are making, because they do, in fact, have operational control over our border. You've heard our Homeland Security Chair Mark Green talk about that. We had committee meetings at the border on our side just so we would force the Democrats to go to the border. You cited our so-called border czar, Kamala Harris. She's only been to the border once. Joe Biden's barely been anywhere near the border ever in all his 50 years as being a career politician. They don't want to talk about it. You see them talking about gun control. What's really interesting, earlier in the show, you showed that President Trump was actually beating Biden by double digits. The reason is Trump actually came out with something that all Republicans were afraid to talk about, a bold position on the border back when he was running in 2015, 2016, which launched him into the presidency, because people realized that when you have a border overrun without orderly migration, you surrender control to cartels who are now making billions, record number of money, human trafficking, these poor innocent children. Remember, it was Obama who had the children in cages. Trump was blamed. Now we have children in warehouses full of children that are suffering. They don't know who their parents are. They're being told by cartels that you're going to meet your cousin, your uncle, or somebody somewhere in the interior of the United States. They've sent a lot of these children to the northern border. We had a family die in a marsh in the northern border of New York in very cold temperatures because that has been pushed to the northern border. And also, as I think we've talked about on the show, David, the Canadian government does not require visas when these fake passports and illegal immigrants come to the border. So they come across, they get a legal driver's license from Kathy Hochul, which they can use to go anywhere in the country. And that's, Mayor Adams can cry all day, but they have sanctuary cities.
Maybe soon they'll be able to use the licenses to vote, too. And don't forget those 85,000 unaccompanied children who've disappeared. The HHS can't find them anymore. All right, I want to switch to how that affects cities, particularly New York. New York's former governor, Cuomo, says New York City Mayor Adams is actually correct to say that the migrant crisis could destroy the city. What effect is it having on the budget of New York City and other cities around the country?
Well, you're hearing outrageous numbers, millions and millions, billions of dollars. Actually, it's costing about $11 million a day. It's over $1 billion. It's cost the city of New York. Kathy Hochul, the governor, put $1 billion into the budget in new taxes, by the way, on among the highest taxed, probably the highest taxed residents in the entire nation in the state of New York, of which I'm a resident, to cover the costs. And now by creating incentives, sanctuary city policies, moving people to upstate New York, affecting my district and areas up there, forcing local taxpayers and county taxpayers to pay for these migrants, without their control, without vetting, without any information. Look, this is costing, they're estimating another $5 billion over the course of the next year just to accommodate these migrants. And this is just a fraction of what Texas is taking. And I sent a letter to Secretary Mayorkas. I called for his impeachment. I sent a letter to him saying, who's paying for this? Are the New York taxpayers going to have to pay for this in addition to paying this on their federal taxes, in addition to eroding our own ability to maintain and keep our own counties and local governments
Congressman,
going?
we only have 20 seconds left, but are we going to have a government shutdown by the end of the week or not?
It's hard to say, but I will say this. We actually proposed putting H.R. 2, the strongest border protection bill that we passed in the House, up on on a continuing resolution. Which I don't like continuing resolutions, but I think if we can get these bills passed in a reasonable amount of time in the next 30 days or so, I think we'll be in good shape. But I think we're going to get 4 passed, and we're going to see really severe cuts that are much needed in various parts of this government. So hopefully we will evade a shutdown and we'll make the cuts that we need to cut down on inflation and what's hurting the American people.
Congresswoman Tenney, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.